Hey there, Devin Sizemore, Devin Sizemore Consulting. Today, I want to talk about types of contacts. So today's presentation, kind of the premise for it is, I see with clients and a lot of sales professionals that I work with that you're too targeted in who you're trying to reach and who you're trying to market and network with. We need to expand that and give you more opportunity for you to build your network, drive value, and have a more robust database. So let's go ahead and jump into the presentation and hopefully get some value out of this. All right, so as I talked about, we're going to talk about types of contacts today. So first, let's just jump straight in. So there are a lot of different kinds of people you can connect with when you're networking, when you're marketing, when you're building your database. No matter what you're doing, what I see often is people are only looking for clients, right? So a client is someone who purchases your product or money. They're spending money with you, right? But that's one very specific type. It's very transactional relationship. When we get to the point system later, it's not super valuable, but it's needed, right? But that's a one-to-one approach, and we want to explore one-to-many approaches and how we can better leverage our time to get more referrals and expand our network. So clients, again, kind of they're there, you need them, but how do we switch to a one-to-many approach? Next thing I want you to think about is ideal clients. I like to classify ideal clients as someone who purchases your highest margin product or service. They're usually easier to work with and they value your product or service. So it could be all three of those things or one of the three, and there's some other identifiers that might exist in your industry. But those are some good things to think about, like what makes an ideal client stand out versus just your average client. Next, you want to look for referral channel partners. Those are someone who has access to your clients. We'll kind of dig into that a little more later. Groups and associations. So where do your clients network, seek education? Are there places they have to be a part of? Are there places they gather? Industry leaders and consultants. This is a hidden gem. Who do your clients listen to or seek advice from? And how do we get to know them? How do we get in front of them? And how do we build that relationship? Vendors, someone your client spends money on, and then connectors, individuals who know everyone. So we're going to dive into each of these a little bit more, but this is the quick glimpse of the kind of connections you can be making. So why is this important? Like, why is this even a relevant topic? Let's just take a networking event as an instance, right? You go out, you decide you're going to network, you head into a room, there's 25 people in the room, right? How many of those 25 people do you think are actually potential clients? Now, I know that answer is going to differ based on your industry and your product and service, maybe the kind of people who are in the room. But it's probably not likely that more than 1 to 5 of those people in the room are actually potential clients, right? Maybe timing's not right. Maybe they don't fit your client profile. Like it's probably a small percentage. So if we go into a room of 25 and 1 to 5 of those are actually ideal clients, then we're probably setting ourselves up for failure because we're going to have a lot of conversations hoping that we can clearly identify in a quick time frame who an ideal client is. How many of the people in the room fall into all the other things we talked about? Probably all of them, right? Probably all of them could fall into one of the other buckets if we know how to nurture that relationship correctly, which will be a whole nother video for how to network, how to build relationships, how to drive value. But right now, I just want you to understand who you can connect with. So the takeaway here is you are missing opportunities by focusing only on clients, right? If that is all you're trying to do in your marketing and your networking and your outreach is just find clients, you're missing a huge bucket of opportunity. So before we can talk about that, let's understand what we're selling, right? So if we're going to go out there and network and market, what are you selling? So I need you to take a second and clearly identify what are your products and services? What's the price points? What type of transaction? Is it a single payment plan, membership? How's your client spend money with you? Are you B2B? Are you B2C or both? B2B, right? Business to business, business to consumer or both? Retail, physical location, at home, right? Clearly identify that. And then make sure you didn't forget something, right? So using the marketing world as an example, right? Maybe you sell websites, but maybe you do these like super custom solutions, or you've done a bunch of one-offs. All those one-offs are actually things that you sell. Now, maybe you don't want to sell moving forward, but they're things that you've sold or clients have paid you for. So make sure you're not missing products or services that you're actually selling, because we also want to be able to, in a future video, talk about margins and what products and services you should be selling. All right, so let's jump in. So The first bucket was clients. This should be the easier one for you, but again, it's an activity you should do, and you should reevaluate this yearly. Make sure that as you're changing and adapting to the market, your products or services are changing, that you're adjusting your client profiles as well, right? So first, are all your clients equal, or do you have different target clients based on the product or service that you're selling, right? So if you have different clients, then you're going to need different profiles, right? If you have 14 products and they all target different clients, clearly identify that. Maybe you have one product that targets 2 or 3 groups of clients, clearly identify that. The more we can understand our client, the easier it'll be to identify some of those other groups that we're going to talk about. So to build your client profile, you can look at age, gender, location, are there life events that trigger them being a great client, education level, typical pain points that they might be experiencing, occupations, titles, living situations. Do they own their house? Do they rent their house? Is there income qualifications? Are there ethnicity qualifications, or are you targeting certain areas of the country? What else? Like, what else is there that could be an identifier for your client, right? Is your client built, or your product or service built for some specific solution, right? So pregnant women, right? Expecting mothers. You need to understand these things so that we clearly understand who our client is. So that's going to be a huge activity for you. Get that dialed in, make sure you clearly understand it. If you do, no worries. Let's move to the next thing. So next, the ideal client. This is something I see people miss a lot, is, you know, really taking a second to look at your book of business, look at your transactions that you've had, and really explore which clients are ideal. So the 3 that I like to talk about is, first, they're buying your highest margin product. Not all of your products are created equal, right? Some of them might be loss leaders where you're actually losing a little or breaking even to get people in the door. But usually in a business, there's a product or service that generates the best revenue, highest margin combo for you. And I think that if we can get more of those people, it's better, right? Because it's better for us. We're more profitable if we get more of those clients. Easy to work with, for sure. We want clients that we enjoy working with. So good communication, clear expectations, genuinely like good positive vibes working with this person. What would make that identifiable? And then they actually value your product or service, right? So sometimes if you're selling products, this could be the person, you know, on the other side who's trying to price gouge you or drive you to the bottom, right? So they have a large enough problem, or they have enough resources to truly value and pay for your product or service, right? So let's make sure we understand those ideal clients, because if we can find those, we want to make sure we get on top of them, right? But if an ideal client goes by us and we don't understand if that was an ideal client, we may not react appropriately. All right, so moving to the next group, right? So if we move down, right, and we're looking at different opportunities, the easy one is referral partners, right? There'll be a whole video series you'll see about building referral partner relationships and nurturing it, because I think this is an amazing way to expand your referral base and your word of mouth marketing, right? So who has access to your clients? Referral partners can look like a lot of different things. Some of these other buckets could be referral partners, but at the end of the day, who is willing and able to make an introduction to you, to your business, to your product or service, right? This could be a client that's an advocate for you, right? So clients that are advocating for you could be referral partners. Could be like if you're in B2B, it could be CPAs or attorney or people who have access to business owners, right? If you're B2C, it could be synergistic businesses that have access to your clientele. Who could refer business to you, or who has a database that they could give you access to that has some of your clients or ideal clients in it, right? That would be a referral partner, someone who can refer us business, right? Next, where do your clients gather, right? Are there associations or groups that they belong to? So are there local, regional, national associations your clients would or must belong to, right? So if you're targeting construction or the trades, there's builders associations, typically in the city, some regional, some state, and then there's national ones. If you're going after child cares, there's regional, there's national, there's state ones, right? So what if there's an industry you're going after, do your clients fit into that industry and then belong to a place where they gather, where you can go and meet them, right? Are there local associations that your clients are members of, right? So I'm in the Reno market. That's where my corporate office is, where I'm based out of, right? We have the Young Professional Network. We have NCT. We've got the Chamber of Commerce. Those are all places that people gather. I'm targeting businesses, so businesses gather there, right? And then do your clients gather in groups? That could be BNIs, could be lit tips, could be Parent-teacher associations, if you're going after moms, right? So where do they gather? You've got to find ways to get in front of many potential clients or ideal clients. Where do they gather? Better yet, if you could identify associations and groups where referral partners gather, that's an extra, right? Because now we can go out and go one to many, targeting people who are one to many, right? So we're exponentially growing the value of our network. Next, we have industry leaders and consultants. So if there's a vertical that you're targeting, if there's a typical industry that you're going after, who do those people listen to, respect, or get education from? And how do you become best friends with that person, right? How do you align on your products and service offerings? How do you get them to endorse you? Or how do you spend money to get in front of their clients, right? Maybe attend their trade show, hop on a Zoom or a networking event or a webinar that they're doing. You have to find these people. This is a great way to blitz a vertical if you're trying to build reputation in that industry fast, is have someone at the top or the people in the industry know, like, and trust endorse you. That'll get you through the door way faster, right? While you're working grassroots, while you're doing all the other networking, this is a great way to start. So identify those people and make sure they're on your target list, because if they're not on your target list, we can't make the ask. We can't strategically look for ways to find those people. Who are possible vendors? I love building my vendor list. Who are my clients already spending money with, right? Who are they already spending money with? So again, in the B2B world, CPAs, accountants, bookkeepers, great, because my clients are already spending money with them, right? So if they refer me, they are referring a client that already knows, likes, and trusts them and is spending money with them to me. It is much easier for me to move that referral through the buying process because they were referred by someone they already spend money with. If you're in the B2C world, are there synergistic businesses? Are there great add-on products that fit your product or service that you can partner with? That again, your clients are already spending money with. If they're spending money with someone and that person refers you, your ability to close that deal or move them through a buying cycle is so much better. All right, this is the one, man, connectors. You have to strategically add connectors into your network, right? These are the people that seem to know everyone or have huge databases, or no matter what you ask for, they're always the one that's replying to the comment on social media saying, I know somebody, or tagging somebody. You need as many of these people in your network as possible, because anytime you have an ask, right, you can reach out to these people. So right now I have an ask. I'm trying to help some of my clients expand into a market. So I can go to the connectors in my network and say, who do you know in this market? And all of those connectors have been able to open doors for me because they know people, right? So you have to have connectors in your network. So what I want you to do, if there's any takeaway from this, is I want you to gamify the process, right? Instead of going out there and dreading networking, instead of going out there and dreading building those relationships and narrowing your audience so far down that you're only targeting clients, I want you to expand it and I want you to play the game, right? How many points can you get, right? So 1 point for clients and ideal clients, 2 points for referral partners or channel partners, 2 points for finding your way into associations or groups, 3 points for vendors, right? So if you can find someone that your clients are spending money with, that's worth 3 points to your business. Industry leaders, consultants is worth 4 points. Connectors are worth 5 points. So how many points can you add to your database this week? If you look at your networking, if you look at the meetings you have set up, how can you, one, actually understand who you're meeting with and qualify them and put them into buckets? They might exist in multiple buckets. They might be a client and they might have access to an association or group. They might be a client and they might be the industry leader, right? So you might be able to get a couple points, but as you're having that discovery and first meeting, how do you ask better questions so that you can get them to refer you to not just clients and ideal clients, but to referral partners, association groups, vendors, industry leaders, and connectors, right? Now you have a bigger ask. So I want you to really look at how can you get more points in your business, in your sales, in your networking, and your marketing efforts this week and next week. How do we get more meetings? How do we get more out of those meetings? And if we're going to go network, how do we get more out of those networking events? So here's your action items. I love this image, right? An inch of movement will bring you closer to your goals than a mile of intention. So great. I'm glad that you watched this video. Hopefully you got something out of it, but let's do something with it, right? So here's some action items for you. First, expand your contact list to include all the groups we identified, right? So let's broaden who we're trying to reach, and let's really understand what those people look like, what the key characteristics are, so that we know how to make the ask and we know how to identify if someone is that. Evaluate your database and see if there's missed opportunities, right? So go through your current list and start to put them into some of these buckets so you understand what kind of people are already in my database or my current network. Evaluate your networking and marketing efforts to see, is there opportunity for you to expand your message to get to some of these one-to-many people instead of just the one-to-one? And then last, evaluate your first meetings, discovery meetings, and really try to gamify them to look for ways where when they ask you how they can help you, you don't just reply with, well, here's my ideal client, or here's who spends money with me. It's like, no, you know what? I do great with bookkeepers and CPAs. They're great referral partners for me. You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for bookkeepers and CPAs, right? So being able to make a better ask, or, hey, you know what? I'm going after this vertical and it looks like you may have connections there. Who in that industry is a player, right? Who knows everyone? Who's playing the game at the top level? I want to get to know them, right? So let's make sure that you have a better ask there. So these are your action items. So again, Devin Sizemore Consulting. Today, I wanted you to look at types of contacts and really expand what you're looking for, who you can add to your database, who's in your database. And let's make sure we go out and gamify this a little bit and have more fun, meet more people, and stop narrowing ourselves down to something that's going to set us up to fail, right? Let's go meet more, let's have more success, and let's really understand the kind of people that we can go out there and meet.